So today we are going to see one of the important hook use context. So React is like we can pass the information to the nested or hierarchy of a component from like parent to child only. That is the only option available here. So how we can pass, for example, the component high in the component hierarchy, the levels may be like maybe n number or like it may be for example, if you want to pass some information from parent to leaf in in a tree structure, it is bit difficult in React. You have to pass all the information, whether it is whether it is needed by the whether it is used by the other components or not. We have to pass. To overcome this issue, like React providing one hook that is called a use context hook that is used to like update or read, and it is kind of like a both read and set value and the common information that we are using across the application, that those information can be passed or in the hierarchy of components. That information need like we can pass between the from the one level to the children of the components. So let's see how we can do that. So the create context is used to define our the context type or anything. And we have to set up, we have to first initialize this one outside the component. Then using this app context provider, we have to tell what is the value that is passed across the component hierarchy. And then you can pass the initial, you can pass the actual value here. For example, Now we have to initialize this provider. You can add this. I'm adding this in the topmost level, but you can add in any like at any level. So this hook you have to pass what is the type of context you are going to like get the information from. So here like we have created the name as like our context, then you have to refer the same context here. I'm going to assign the default value. So why it is complaining means we haven't defined the type. I think let's fix this one. Give me a second. Oh, it is working. One minute, I'm unable to drag and drop the browser to this window. Give me a second. So still we cannot see this value because we have assigned the state value instead of this one. Let's fix this one. So now you can see this value here. So what we have done is like instead of like passing this value uh, like passing this value as a props to the children of the children in the hierarchy, we are directly like initializing the like setting the provider and we can read this value. And you can also like pass some you can pass some callback methods in the same context, and you can based on that you can uh, update the context value also. So when to use this context? Basically, this context is used to like share some information between between the hierarchy of the components. So you can use whatever the value, for example, theme or common information that is shared So you can create the context in between the hierarchy, and you can pass any values between the the in between the component hierarchy. So for any questions?
No.
Okay. So basically, you can use this hook to pass some user-related information or token-related information in a smaller app to read the token and update, or call the API with the using that token. So you can use this context, and also for reading the theme. If you have created multiple theme for your web application, then you can pass some information, theme information in the context. So apart from this, yeah, I'm closing this one. Now we are going to we are going to see the routing. So what is routing? So before routing, so routing is used to map the URL with a certain functionality or functionality implementation. Here I can show you. So look at the before executing this piece of code in the console, look at the address bar. So what we have done, we have updated certain things. Nothing will change now. So this is the routing is basically built on top of the window.history only. So whenever user navigating within the application, so it will redirect to certain. It will update the address bar in the update the address in the address bar, and then the component will be mapped to the certain address, all the routes or the address, and based on that it will update. So React won't provide any utility for this one. There is a separate npm packages is available that is created by the open source community members. Let's install this component here, package here. To use this React router DOM the same we have to define the the we have to wrap all the component in the browser router. So without this, what this will happen, right? This browser router will listen for the history changes in the browser until the update the React. That is, this route is updated, and based on that, you have to render the whatever the component mapped to the route. It will tell the application the changes happened here, and you have to update your UI. So this will listen to our changes and then tell the hierarchy, it is always in the top level only, but tell the component or our application to some changes has happened. So based on that, we have to update. I will update this one now. So now I'm refreshing the page. We are seeing empty page because I haven't added in the top level route. So this route won't, like, this route is responsible for like mapping the this URL with the component only. Now we have to add the links to the links. So I can update this too. Okay. So now we have added the the code is very simple. We have created another list, and inside this one, we have used the link. So this will render as a normal anchor tag in the browser, but when you are clicking, this will tell the browser the React router DOM wrapper, that is browser router, that is the it will update the URL bar. That means it will add one entry to the window.history history, and also like tell the component that something is changed. So the browser router will listen for those changes, and it is happened inside the app component. Then, for example, even though like I can show you, if I'm updating here, the same clicking on the counter, even like update anything, it won't render, it won't change the component or navigate to the navigate in within our application. So it should happen only inside this one. So if I'm clicking here, okay. So this is now it is loaded. You can take this component little differently. So we will always have this link in the top. So if I'm clicking here, then it will it will update address bar. Also, it will update the like it will render the appropriate component that is mapped to the route. So, for any questions? Okay. Let's see. Now we are going to see how we can style our component. So in this application, so we mainly used CSS files. So these CSS files, when you are directly using the CSS file, all the classes are it is basically it's a global styles. It will it will be for example, if you define a style for anchor, it will reflect across the application. So how we can style the component in the React JS? You can use CSS files. If it is a global style, that is perfectly fine. But for example, if you want to have a different styles or different mm, uh, different look and feel for the certain components with the same HTML markup, then you can use uh, there are two things using CSS and SCSS. Sassy CSS is both are same only, but you can use the Sassy CSS functionalities to use variables for all the to define your properties. Apart from this, there are one more option is available. We can use we can install that package. So there is a styled components npm packages is there. This package is not only used to uh, like uh, within the component itself you can define your define the styles, and you can update you can update the look and feel for the HTML markup, for example. Button. I'm importing styled from the styled components, and then I can put one dot. Then I can select whatever the HTML markup component, for example, button, and I have to use the back tick here. Then background color red. Okay. Now, yeah. So we have created this one. Now I can okay. Now I can use this one instead of this one. We can go here. So if you see, we have added some custom styles for this button. So how this will be updated in the UI. So when you are using this package, so this will be like all the CSS in like JS in CSS that will be like compiled, it will be extracted, and it will be created added to the inline style in the development time. And it may like in the development time, and uh, uh, I can show you here. So for example, we have added some background color red, and if you look at the thing, we have a class attribute is added to this component with something, and not something, some class attribute is added with some CSS style values. Let me, okay. So if you look at the thing, the second class is responsible for whatever the styles we have added. In whatever the styles we have added, it is reflecting here. So how this will be like the, so during the development time, this in CSS will be like created as a custom classes, and it will be added to the in the head tag, and you can see here. So CQ T, Z, and Y. So why we are having it, it will be creating a random thing, because to like it will analyze our component, and it will be create the random class names, so that it won't come what do you call it, won't mm, conflict with other styling thing. So this is one of the one and popular way of like styling the React components, and it is also like extended in a way. For example, again, style. Sheet. So if you look at the thing, the submit, the second button, we extended from what we are defined in the style using the styled component package, and it is extended. So if you pick this one, and we have a custom classes. So the two classes, first class is also added, and based on the CSS precedence, the second class color is updated because it is added in the last, the class is added as a final class list. Sorry, final class in the class list. So this is very useful, and you don't have to worry about to create a separate style CSS thing, and you can keep on like work on this one, and you can see whatever the component and the view layer and the properties of the all the properties of the view layer within the component itself. So this is one way. And second thing, like you can use any CSS utility framework like Tailwind or Tailwind like this. Apart from this, there is one more approach is there. So I strongly recommend that approach, because uh, like when you are writing, for example, in your team, you may multiple people are editing or modifying a CSS or a component view, components. It may lead to same class names in another files or another CS, another thing. So what you can do here is, let's go to some other component. Okay. I'm going to refactor this one. So defining anything, just importing the classes alone, the entire module. So it is updated, but when you are creating a model, you don't have to like specify the global, or you don't have to select a common selector, and you can append this add some custom thing, and removing before that I can update. Okay, why this is happening? Give me a second. The digital clock. Okay, so I have added on the digital clock component only, so I'm searching something else. So this is also almost similar to how the style components are adding the CSS to the CSS to the head tag in the HTML page and render. If you look at the thing, the only advantage is even if you're having a header, right, it will create a unique ID for this classes, whatever that is imported inside this one, and adding the classes here, and you can see the classes there thing the same way it will add. So when suppose one more person like creating the stamps, I can show you counter. Okay, let's I'm copying this one. Same thing. So so I have copied the same styles CSS file. Let's see how this will look. And so we have the same look and feel, but if you pick the element header 13Q, header 13Q1 and header 135NQ. So basically, let me rerun this one. But now previously we have the same name. the class names. Now we have a different thing, because it will compare the module.css will be create a unique it will id with the actual class names, so that when our one more person is adding the same class name, it won't impact our application. So this is the best way to style the one of the best way to style the um, uh, style the React components. So for any questions? So another thing is we can use Tailwind CSS. And you can you can, the only thing you have to learn there is a learning curve to use this application, use this Tailwind CSS. This is also a recommended way to use style the components, style the React or Vue.js components. Basically, these are the common ways to style the component, style the React components. And we have we can see some of the other hooks use callback, use memo. So how to use this use callback and use memo? To use this use callback. If you look at the definition for this one, you can pass one function. The same way you can define the dependencies. So you can call this one. So we haven't changed anything. We have just created one function, and we have uh, we are calling the function the same whenever we are updating the new time in the component itself. So why we have to use this one? Like we saw in the earlier session, React does not know what is changed or inside the component. So whenever there is a change happen, it will execute, it will evaluate like whatever we from the line number, like whatever inside the component, it will re-evaluate the whole code. So when doing this one, when we are defining any function or anything, this function will be like reinitialized again and again. So if you don't want to like, if you want to keep our memorizing some methods or functions inside the component, you can use this one. So this won't change, even though it is like it will be memoized and it will be written back the reference to the this variable, and you can use this one. Suppose if you want to like update anything, any means like if we want to make any reevaluate this code, then you can pass the dependencies. Now we have like defined one empty dependency. So this callback will be like initialized whenever the component is mounting at like first render. After the first render, this will be like it will be like initialized, and during this like second render or third render, this won't like this code will not called again and again. So that is the one advantage of here. uh, so basically like to keep some functions in memory, so you can use the use callback. The same logic. So use memo, the difference between the use memo and use callback will like it both has the same signature and everything. Only differences, this is like it will return the function to execute, like memoized function, whatever you are defining here, this will be memoized and it will be written back in the call using the use callback. Use memo is also having the same syntax. I'll show you. Here, I can come on this one so that you can have a clear idea. So we are seeing the same 4/18/22 only, even though it is updating the time. So what is happening? So I am creating the memoized value only during the first render. So whatever that is stored in the component in the first time, it will be like it is calculated and stored. This value won't change, and this part will never getting executed. Suppose if you want to update this value based on some you are listening for some state props changes, then you can pass the dependency. Then it will be like it will based on that it will be like update. So if you want now, there is no use in like defining the same state here. But what I am telling here to this piece of code, like whenever there is a stage like the stage, I want to update this value. Like now, okay. So this is happened. We are not adding dependency here, but you can like this is like memoized value. You can reevaluate this function whenever there is a change here. Otherwise, I have to pass this value to this dependency. So it is like kind of circular references. So these are the like two hooks you use to like memorize a function or some values based on some calculations. So far, any questions? There is one more utility function is there. So memo. This is also used for the same purpose, but this memo will be like will be wrapped as wrapped wrapped with a component. Create.
Hi, Sundar. A quick question on use memo hook. So could you give us any use case on when can we go for, use memo hook state? Any real-time example on when can we use it?
If you look at the documentation, they will say that, like any complex operations, you can when you are doing some complex operations, you can memorize. You don't have to like execute because reevaluate the code again and again. So it will be in the memory whenever there is some state changes or a state even though update. So, but not only for some complex operation or anything, you want to like keep for example, you don't want to execute this piece of code. You can keep it in a simple way. You don't want to execute this one again and again whenever there is a state or props change, okay, unnecessarily. You can add as a dependency, but it is basically like use cases means for example, you don't have to like you either for example some long running operations you are performing, or you are calling some multiple APIs, promise wait all, promise dot all. You're making some you're making some server side calls and performing some operation and keep some values inside this like keep the values in the memory. At that time you can use this one. Basically you want to the use case.
So for example, can we consider generating a file, a large size file? Can that be a use case for this example or
Yeah,
for
you can,
this?
for example, if you are using you are creating some content for the files,
Mhm.
and you can use you can use memo, and you can prepare some content, and you can keep that value unless if there is any change you can update. Then you can based on that you can update.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Thanks, Sundar.
So the memo is also like a kind of same thing only. So what this will do here, whatever the props that is passed here, for example, if you look at the component inside this one, this component is ticking every second. So even though it is ticking every second, the memoized component will not render. It is rendered only 1 or 2 times only. Because behind the scenes in the strict mode, every time like strict mode in the development mode, it is like React will like trying to like reevaluate all the hooks and the component 2 times, make sure we don't have any issues in our code. So that is the reason we are seeing in the 2 times. But once you build this code, then it will be, you can see only 1 time only. So without memoized thing, we can create one more component, and we can see. I'm going to copy the same thing, exactly same. I can add another render control. Differentiate this one. Removing this one. This has to be defined. So if you look at we mounted two components, the same props, but without memoizing, there is any state or any props change, like any state change in the parent component, it is forcing the child, the hierarchy component, to re-render again and again. So this is keep on increasing. So what is the use of this memo function, the memo utility? So what this will do, so this will check the properties with the previous properties that is passed to this component. If both are same, then it won't tell the component, it won't update trigger the rendering the component. Otherwise, it will something's changed. So you have to re-render. It will tell the component to render again. So that is the advantage of using this memo thing. So basically, it is used for performance wise. You don't have to render again and again when there is change happening, and you see certain props are only you want to re-render this component for the particular change of the component only. So even this component is not re-rendering. If anything changed in the age ID or the name, this component will also render. So behind the scene, the memo function will check the properties that is passed to the component, compare, and if there is any change, then only it will render the component. That is the main use of this application, use of this memo utility. Any questions?
Any difference between use effect and memo?
Use effect and memo.
Yeah, because that use effect also, if it is changing, then only it is getting fired. Memo is kind of also doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, but it will be responsible for whole whole component rendering. And use effect is a particular piece of JavaScript code you are making, like you are again executing based on the change. You are listening for some value change in the dependencies array. Okay. Empty, if we are passing empty, means like it is only initialized, or this code will be like executed in during the first render after mounting happens.
Okay.
Okay. But the memo is for a different purpose. It will be like the memo will be taken care of the entire component here. And whatever you are inside this component, we are having a smaller component, right? When you are memoizing anything, if it is a larger component or a bigger component, then you don't have to like re-render this part of the. It might be a complex UI, a complex chart or anything. You can memorize whole thing and you can render. And also like for example, even though it is a memoized component, right? I can update a set. What is the rendered? So we are updating. Inside the tick also we are setting the state. It means the state change happening for the every seconds. But this component, the first memoized component, right? That is not re-rendering again and again. That is the only difference here.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you can use this utility to listen for certain changes. Then only you can render you can decide whether this component needs to be re-rendered again or not in the UA. Then you can use memo utility to define a component inside this memo utility, and you can create you can decide. It is basically used for use callback, use memo, and memo. These all used for only for the performance wise enhancing our application performance. Okay, thank you all.